bullshit are you telling yourself today? That's right, each one of us have our own bullshit monsters that keep us from living our purposeful life. Today, my amazing friend Anai Bock, she is a leadership trainer, purpose strategist, and CEO of Let's Work Magic, and best known for her creation of Bullshit Monster cards and book that will teach us about the concept of bullshit monsters. And it's going to be a fun episode today, and I hope you really enjoy it. But before we dive in, I want to apologize for the other day when we were doing the IG live. There was a lot of technical glitches, so we edit them out, and hopefully you enjoy this episode on YouTube. And also, we created a separate video of all the technical glitches into a blooper video that I call Signal Drop Dance, which is going to be an interesting one for you to watch too. So check out both of them, and I'll see you in there. Anai is actually calling from Germany, nighttime around 7:30 MIV right now, right? And then she is a leadership trainer, purpose strategist, CEO of Let's Work Magic, and creator of Bullshit Monster, the awesome card deck series here that she just launched to help leaders make great business decisions, all right, that's in line with their purpose.
Totally.
Yeah. So now we gotta continue. So Anais, actually repeat a little bit about the of the monster and stuff, where that come from, and
So
how did you come?
So basically, this was based on a big qualitative study with over 1,000 leaders and entrepreneurs, and to see what was stopping them from leading a purpose-driven career. So there were a lot of personal limiting beliefs and fears, but there was also a lot of collective mindset stuff around what good work is supposed to look like. And so I took all of those patterns that showed up universally for all of these people and turned them into the 64 monsters that are now in the deck, because it's much easier to deal with a pattern as if it's something that's, a little monster sitting on your shoulder, than if you think, oh, that's me, that's my personality.
Yes. Okay, we're getting thumbs up from our audience. So yeah, cool. And then I'm sorry it's a little bit choppy, and it's kind of interrupt our flow here. But thank you so much for repeating that again. And so the Bullshit Monster is a deck of cards here, where Anai spent like out of her 8 to 9 years worth of work into this really ingenious, like, one packet of like the book. Let's see, book. And then where's my book? Oh, it's right here. This is the book that explains every single monster and what to do with it. You have one. It's funny because my daughter, I show it to my daughters. It's like, well, I like this one. I like this one. And I have to I told her, okay. So I read it for her. So she thought it was really fun. So yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I've already received, sorry. Who has the monsters? Everyone, absolutely everyone has limiting beliefs and fears that stop them from showing up in a big way in the world. But this specific tool was created, it's called the Business Edition. So it was created for people in the business realm, whether you're employed, just looking for a job, whether you're a leader or self-employed. So the examples and the storytelling within the booklet are all based on the business concept. But we all have bullshit in our personal lives and in our businesses too.
Yes. And what are the most common ones? Is there a common bullshit monster that you see over and over in our leaders?
I think it isn't about common. It's much more about obvious. So there are very obvious ones because they're mean. So for instance, or they're, loud. I mean, perfectionism is one that I use often as an example, because it's so apparent to us when we have that inner voice that just says, hey, you can't send that email that way. You need to do a little bit more research, and it's just not there yet. And you start going crazy over minor details that really don't matter. Or there are a little bit less obvious ones, but still very, very present. For instance, the collectively held belief that in order to be any good, work must be hard. Like that one's called yell ow. In order to produce something of good content, you must suffer. And so sometimes we sabotage ourselves when something is too easy, and we think, well, if it was this easy, then it can't possibly be good. And so this is another one. Yeah, and there are much sneakier ones that are based on tradition and family shame, things that you shy back from because you believe you will doom your family. Or there are a few monsters that simply make you skeptical of others. So you're thinking you're being a team player there, but actually all this voice in your head is saying is like, what bad intentions does the other people have? I must protect my assets. How can I construe my logic in order to make the situation work for me? And then everyone starts being skeptical. So there are a bunch of monsters, and it's about some being more obvious and others being less so.
Yeah. So how many total monsters did you create, like from like all your study?
There were about 85, but I only included the ones that really were validated and that really I saw repeatedly in the wild in empirical use, because otherwise it would have been a crazy thick card set. And we did do a little bit of pattern analysis and put a few monsters together that were a little bit similar. So we have, I think, 6 or 7 different kinds of procrastination monsters, because there are very different ones that have very different effects on you. And we took those in because procrastination is such a big topic. But there are other topics that we decided to not include within the final set.
Yeah. So, each person, how many monsters does each person normally have?
That's a good one. Okay, so I feel from personal experience as though there are a few monsters that kind of stick with us a little bit longer. They're like, they like sit there. They're like real pattern monsters, like monsters that you might have to work months or years to overcome. And other monsters simply show up, I don't know, in your meeting with your boss, when you're about to do something creative, when you're about to do something that scares you, then a certain pattern can sneak in, and that isn't your monster. It's just this transitional little a pattern that sneaks its way in. So what I try to do is always kind of monitor which ones. Hi, Jana. Another German friend here. So what I always try to do is kind of monitor what patterns may be more stuck to me right now, and kind of look at it over time. So in 2 or 3 months, are they still there? Do they still have the same effect on me, or has the effect subsided a little bit?
Gotcha. And how do you, like, when people, like, let's say we found out our monsters, right?
Yeah.
Do you make peace with them, or do you try to get rid of them?
That's a really, really great question, because you can't get rid of your monsters. A lot of people use the word resistance for monsters, right? And so they say, eliminate your resistance, get rid of. And that doesn't work, because these are ultimately patterns that are supposed to protect you, right? So no one would ever say, get rid of your fear. You can't get rid of your fear. You can get rid of the things that cause fear, or you can become braver. So it's much more about accepting them, accepting the fact that you have bullshit monsters, I have bullshit monsters, we all have them. And then kind of learning to dance with them.
God. Oh, I love that. Visual in words.
The image. Cool.
So it's the bullshit monsters, like maybe like so tied into the personality, so that
well, okay, let's take the let's take one example here. The one I mentioned earlier with work has to be hard in order to be any good, right? If
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
hold that monster very close to my heart, and I really believe it, and I'm
Uh-huh.
a boss, and I lead a
Uh-huh.
team of people, and I hold the belief that in order to be any good, you must suffer, then it could be that I make people suffer in order to generate good results. And that is,
I
of course, bullshit, because you don't have to suffer to have good work results. And but this is also where things like presenteeism come from, where like you
yeah,
believe you have to stay in the office until after the boss leaves, and that the
yeah,
quality
yeah,
of your work depends on the amount of hours you are glued to your office chair, and that
yeah.
is bullshit, if you ask me.
Oh my gosh, those are, you just create all this awareness about things that doesn't have to be. Some bosses or like some just people in general that I some of those, and some of it I feel that way in running my own business. So this is awesome. I this I'm so glad I got one. So if you guys want to get one, sure to check out .com, right? And
Yay!
it's a
Thank you, Erna.
bullshitmonster.com.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is
Mm-hmm.
bullshitmonsters.com. I can see
Yeah.
a follow-up question. I agree with you, but sometimes people don't have a good impression. Okay, yeah. So there's something to say here about misunderstandings, right? Where my truth is not necessarily your truth, and so you might have you have a bullshit monster, I have a bullshit monster, and then we meet in the wild, and then what you say isn't what I hear, or what I understand isn't what I think you meant. And this is how misunderstandings happen, especially if I have a bullshit monster of my own. So
Yes.
impression management is definitely key. And when you realize that there isn't one right way, and when you stop treating bullshit monsters as if they're a disease, like that's bullshit, but rather, hey, we all have it. So
Yeah, yeah.
what's the bullshit in the room right now? That perspective can really help.
That's so cool. Yeah, like being more aware, being more aware of each other's bullshit monster, and then not judging their like the person. It's like they're affected by a lot of things growing up. Some people are more aware. Like everybody's here is gonna be more aware than some other people that doesn't, know about these monsters, right? So that's gonna hopefully create this people giving people chance to understand each other, which is like the
Yay.
goal here, right?
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
So you
absolutely.
answered the question. Thank you for thumbs
Self-reflection.
up for me. I want to actually ask you a couple more questions. Do you have a lot of time? Because we have a lot of like choppy questions. Do you have some time for me to ask more questions, Anais?
Go ahead. Hit
Okay.
me.
What are your what are your biggest challenges in making a monster, and how did you overcome them?
Well, if you see that I actually developed this method back in 2016, and it took
Mm-hmm.
4 years for this card set to make it to the market, that shows how big of a procrastination was the case there. So basically, one of the beliefs, or one of the pieces of bullshit that I had about my own card set, was that it wouldn't be taken seriously. So Bullshit Monsters is a very whimsical name. A lot of people hear the word bullshit and immediately, close their ears to it. They don't have the humor to handle it, especially in a business context. And I'm a leadership coach. I work with a lot of Fortune 500 companies. So I was like, ugh, I can't possibly launch this thing. No one's going to be taking me seriously. And at the same time, I didn't
Yeah.
want to change the name because it just describes the pattern so well. And so
Yeah.
it took me
Yeah.
years and years, and I always postponed it and said, I'll do it when I have some time. So when the coronavirus hit, and a lot of my gigs this year were in five-star hotels and luxury hotels doing leadership trainings, obviously all of that went down the drain. And so when that happened, I thought, okay, time for Bullshit Monsters, finally. Thanks to COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. that we got the gift, you know, like if not, that we will never get this in our hand, right? So I'm so thank you. Thank you, COVID.
Exactly. Blessing in disguise.
That's how I actually launched Blooming Aces too. It's because of COVID. I procrastinated for 3 years.
There you go.
Next thing is tell us about how did you get started in leadership training? I always love the story about how did you get started? Like, this is what I'm gonna do.
I was a trainer in a 5-star hotel in Egypt at the time, and then the revolution hit in 2011, and obviously no more business. And so I was super happy living there at the time. I decided to stay even though I was out of a job, obviously, and then decided to become self-employed. And I became self-employed as an image consultant and as a personal branding strategist, and worked first of all with a lot of women entrepreneurs. And I realized after a very, very short while that I didn't want to teach people how to look 30 years and 30 kilos younger and slimmer, but that I really wanted to get to the meat of what makes us show up confidently and with a wide open big heart in the world, and what stops us. And I think it was a client who was a performer, who went through a long, beautiful process with me. And in the end, we were in a park, actually a golf court, golfing. What do you call this? Golf court? Is it a court in English?
Golf course. Yeah, the golf course.
Course. It's a course. Okay. On a golf course at 6 a.m. And she finally started singing again, which is something she hadn't done for years. And it turned into this beautiful sunrise performance. Anyway, this was the moment I realized that I wanted to do something that would help people get rid of all the stuff that stops them from showing up in the world. And that's when I became really deep in my level of work, and the corporate stuff came later.
Just that, like, one turning point there. Yeah, you have that moment, right? That's awesome. Yeah. I love that moment. So, you know, I also want to have a pop-up question that I did not tell you earlier. How did you meet your husband? By the way, Anai, congratulations on your wedding. She just got married less than a month ago.
Yeah, we're actually both self-employed, and we both work in leadership. And so we were at our friend Hendrix, who has this beautiful network of leadership trainers, and we were both there. And to be honest, everyone who works there, who I know, is homosexual. So I simply assumed, because he also has a very strong feminine side, that he was too. And I think he may have assumed the same about me, but we managed to clarify that pretty quickly. And a year later, we got engaged, and a year after that, we got married.
Backtrack on that. Backtrack. You missed a detail that I love.
Which detail?
When he first sang, when he met you, you told me something he said.
Oh my God, I don't even know what. Do you mean where he said sometimes you have to invite dangerous people for tea? Was that the one?
No. This is what Anai told me when.
You tell the story.
Never work with you. That's what he said. Remember?
Yes, that's what he said. Thank you. Yeah. I like how you remind me what my husband said to me.
We have a lot of... So yeah, another thing is what you did something crazy. Something crazy. After he said that, you went to your ex-boyfriend at the time, and what did you tell him?
No, he wasn't my ex at the time. We were actually still together.
No.
Oh,
right. You're right. He wasn't. She was dating someone.
Yeah.
Anai was.
I was dating someone, and I called him and said I met someone, and he's now part of my life.
Yeah, like that, right? Just like that. And then you haven't even hooked up yet. You haven't even like go on a date or anything, right? This is amazing. Nope. This is something like, nothing. Oh my gosh, I admire your gut feel right there.
see, I don't know. How did you get that? Like, where did you get the gut feel? Are you always been like this?
I think, are we stuck again? It feels like you're frozen. I think you're back.
All right.
Okay,
I get
so
that.
where did I get my gut feeling? I think I have learned to trust it by not trusting it sometimes. So in the past, there were situations where I didn't trust my gut feeling, and then things went awfully wrong. So that has just over the years led me to simply trust it, even if it's crazy. And so far, it hasn't led me astray. So I think I'm becoming more outrageous, and this is one of the examples that are very outrageous of me trusting my gut.
Oh.
But it was also just a very clear feeling, like if I wasn't in a delusional fairy mindset in that moment. I was just like in deep knowing. So sometimes those things happen.
Deep knowing, that's a good state, good state for us.
Yeah.
I know you were. How long ago was him? How long ago was that?
And 2 years ago.
Only 2 years ago. Oh my gosh. Awesome. Yep. What is his name? What is his name? Can I ask that question?
Marco. Yes, you may.
Lucky. You're a lucky man. So, my question is, talk about. Okay, you have this purpose test that you are actually prepared for our audience, right? Because that's the body where people start with purpose, and tell us more about the purpose test, and then what is that, and what people get out of that purpose test.
Okay. So ultimately, Bullshit Monsters isn't just, they're not just cute drawings. They're there to help you make better business decisions. And ultimately, one of the craziest business decisions you can make is what to do with your life. And I operate on the assumption that everyone wants to do something they're great at, that they love, that the world needs, and that they can be paid for. But oftentimes there's a lot of bullshit that holds us back from this. So the purpose test is designed to tell you where you are on the diagram and what bullshit monsters other people who were on that same place in the diagram tend to have. And so it isn't diagnostic, but it's research. The research reliability has shown up. So people who have said, I am here on the diagram, have also felt identified with certain types of bullshit monsters. And so the test is on my site. It's free. You can take it and you will receive a PDF with wonderful results in your email.
Yes, I actually gonna attest to that because you can also go on my link on bio and it go direct. So the first thing on the top say, take your free purpose test. Go do that. I did it. It was right on. I don't know how. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is ingenious. Like, I have to. What is that? The Claudia Gooder something? Claudia Gooder. I have to pull it. This is really
Gloria
funny.
Feelgood is one of them. Yeah.
What is it? I have like 2 monsters in this comment. So I'm in the my section. I'm in the mission. I am in the, which is really. I mean, I don't know how you figure that out because of the ACRE study, right? This is so true. And then I'm gonna share with you like my bullshit monster Gloria Gooder. And what's the other one?
I actually changed the name of the other one in the set.
Okay, Aconticus aureata. I was
See, no one can pronounce that. It's and so therefore in the set she received a new name. Her name is Floral Agony in the set.
Oh, okay, that is easier. But those are 2.
Yes.
In the mission-driven section.
Exactly.
You guys should check it. It's really fun. I mean, it's just right on. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like this genius, So it's really fun, and you guys should do it. So yeah, again, it's in the link on my. Take it. It's free. Get to know yourself from there, right? And so, what is the biggest risk or leap of faith that you've taken in your journey till today? Like, what is the biggest risk or leap of faith you've done that you remember to be meaningful?
Well, I think there have been many situations where, aside from Marco, we're talking business here, yeah? I think there have been many situations where it would have been easier to take the path well traveled. And instead, I decided not to take the job, not to take the salary, to say no to a corporate client that would have paid very well in honor of what felt right. And that is really, really important. Am I gone? What did you say?
I can hear you, even though it's frozen. Yeah, it was frozen the screen a little bit, but I heard what you said. You basically turned a job that's not aligned with your purpose, correct? Thank you for hanging in there. Appreciate it. And but I think we got some great stuff out of this, and thank you for sharing that story about your leap of, and that sometimes we have to respect ourselves, our purpose, our worth, right? To say no to certain things, and
yeah, sometimes saying no is more important than saying yes, or just as important, because otherwise you end up with a very busy and cluttered life, and you can't focus on what really matters to you.
Yeah, that's great. So what one golden advice that you would like to leave our audience today?
I would say don't take yourself too seriously.
Or two.
Like even today, we've had a bunch of tech issues, terrible connection. It isn't about being perfect. It isn't about changing the world and expecting so much of us. Sometimes it's just about, having a good little laugh and then moving on.
Absolutely. That is a great advice from Anai's Bock, you guys. And this is, I really thank you, Anai, for coming on today. Sorry about all the tech issues. And you've been so good at this whole thing, dancing with me for our audience. So really appreciate everybody dance. So yeah, this is probably like the fun episode for all of us to keep, kind of coming back to it. And so I'm actually personally in the mission to actually help a lot of entrepreneurs. I put a number now, because no bullshit, right? Don't bullshit yourself, saying you cannot do stuff, right? Sometimes we set a goal and then it's so high, answers start pop up and it's yeah, you cannot do it, whatever, right? Procrastinate or whatever. But just, you just do it, you just do it. And like you said, don't take yourself too seriously. Just do it. I have procrastinated forever, and finally, just do it. Okay, it's not gonna be perfect, but you get the message out. Right now, just from now, who gets some value out of this? If I inspire one person today, that's one person more towards my goal to impact 10 million people. Right? Thinking, start small, and then if you impact more people each day, guess 1 year you get 365 people, right? So that's kind of same here, Anais. So yeah, I really think this is a really good tool for everybody. You guys should get it, bullshitmonsters.com, or take the purpose. And then if you want to get in touch with Anais, go to the Instagram at Let's Work Magic. Yeah, so now you get in touch with her and follow her work. She is very fun person and very insightful, and I always have fun chatting with her. She always, if I have hours with you, I can totally stuck in the island with you and ask you lots of questions. So many questions, but I don't want to.
Same here, Erna. Same here. So I do not envy your editing for this episode. It's going to be dreadful. I wish you a lot of flow and magic for it. And if you want to record something on Zoom instead that people don't get a migraine from, then I'm up for that. And otherwise, I wish everyone who stayed here with us, thank you. Hi, all of you. Hi, Yana. Hi, Ariana. Zizu. Thank you for watching. And I'll catch you soon.
All right, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed that podcast with Anais Bock and learned as much as I did. If you like it, please hit like and comment. Let us know how much you learned from her, and if you like her to be back in the future. I have left also a link here for you to take the purpose test for free, and you can get an insight on your own bullshit monster and what to do with them, so you can start learning to live your purposeful life. And again, my name is Erna Blooms. I'm a CEO of Blooming Aces Creative and also your host here at the Blooming Aces podcast. I wish you all the best and hope you subscribe to this podcast because we get a lot of cool lineup for the speakers that will be insightful for you and also entertain you at the same time. Until next time, you have a lovely day, and don't forget to check out our blooper video that's called the Signal Drop Dance. All right? See you next time.